Hello, hello. This is KT0 bringing you another free commentary. You might notice that my volume of the voice is a bit low and there are lots of background noises. That's because my roommates are back and I don't really want to disturb them while they're watching their online videos and nonsense like that. So back to this match in hand. We have a match on the Fire Island again, and this time it's going to be an ally versus Empire. The Empire player, whose name is Kawaii, which in Japanese means cute. Very cute name indeed. And the allies player's name is Warston. Yes, it's a Warston. If there's ever any city that's called Warston, it'd be very, very cool because it involves the word war. And we see that the Empire player is looking to open with a 2 barracks opening, looking to be very aggressive, both military-wise and economical-wise, since you can produce engineer out of this barracks, or in the case of Empire, dojo, and occupy the order immediately. But with the ally players infantries attacking this barrack or dojo, I think his life is fairly limited, and the engineer just got killed there, as you have seen. But meanwhile, at the Empire player's main base, we see that he has erected 2 oil refineries and now is building up his mega bay, which is the facility for Empire players to produce mechanized units. And one of his barracks, which is 3 initial barracks, well, I was wrong, it was actually 3 barracks openings, very, very aggressive, big investment. And you see that it's sitting at the center of the map looking to produce an engineer, although I don't know how effective that would be, since there are a whole lot of infantry from the allied players sitting at the center of the map, and is now looking to destroy one of the dojo cores there. So I can only imagine, that's a good trick. You sell your dojo and you get an Imperial Warrior, which when it activates its heat special ability, we will switch his katana, which will one-shot any infantry. And we see that the allied player is now taking all direct with a secondary attacking mode of the javelin launcher, which keeps building incredibly fast. Very unpleasant indeed. And we see that the allied player is now moving the MCV towards the center of the map, potentially looking to expand here or here in the waters. Expansion, I would think that expanding into the water is more sensible, but if you want more map control, especially when you're an allied player, you would want to expand to the center of the map and build unit production facility there in order to shorten your range from your production to your shorten the distance between your production and your opponent's base. Although I don't think it matters at this point, since the allied player does have a superiority with 1 Apollo 5 fighters, which needless to say are very, very overpowering to the Tengus here, and is now pressing to the Empire player's base with a large number of infantry. And we actually see 2 Apollo fighters here, and with the cover of the Apollo fighters, the aerial bombing to the Tengus can be executed very beautifully, while the Tengus are trying to kill off the peacekeepers here. If all the Tengus are killed and a reasonable number of peacekeepers remain alive in the Empire player's base, it could be in big trouble because they kill buildings reasonably fast. And we see that the allied player has actually put his MCV at the center of the map. Like I said, it's looking to a map control style of play, although the Empire player has put out a dojo core at the center of the map just besides the all direct as well. So once he spots this MCV here, he can use his tank busters to destroy it, although well, the vision of the dojo is fairly limited, so I don't think he has seen the MCV there yet. But I have to assume that at this point of the game, players will generally assume that their players has expanded, and there's no harm checking out the center of the map, especially when you can catch opponent off guard when his center expansion is not defended, and you just go ahead and do some damage. I forgot to say that this is a pro level play. The previous video that I've uploaded was of my friend Gashorian, but this is a pro game which I've downloaded from a game replay website. On the other side, we see the Empire player is now moving his tankers to the water side, apparently for no purpose, perhaps looking to check out the level clock expansion, which is almost most likely to be occupied at this point of the game on this map, but it's not going to see anything. And we see 3 Apollo fighters moving to the Empire player's main base, looking to establish control there so the Vindicators can move in for some good bombings. Well, the number of Vindicators and Apollos indicates there are more than one airbase, and indeed there is another airbase. When I was talking nonsense, being established in the center of the map, and the air force of the Allied players looking very, very strong now. He no doubt has air superiority. Although, in terms of ground superiority, I would certainly give it to Empire player, given how effective the Imperial War Warriors are against infantry and the number of it as well. Especially considering the fact that all the ground force the Allied player the Allied player currently has now are infantry, so yeah, it's looking fairly likely that the Empire player has ground superiority. Excuse me, a bit of glitch in my speech there. Well, it regularly happens, so you have to bear with me. Although the assault rifles of the Empire's Imperial Warriors are generally not so effective against big buildings and armored vehicles, once you get them into a large enough number, they can be devastating. A nice blitz there, although paying the price of 7 or 8 Imperial Warriors there, it's actually quite a big investment. I'll say 2,000 of the minerals. But no matter, we see that the Empire player's micro actually has slipped there, and 5 Tango just sitting at or floating at the level clock of the map doing nothing. If I'm the Empire player, I would be moving into the mirror line of the Allied player and do some good harassment there, but apparently not. Well, the 3 Apollo fighters is staying very near to the Empire player's base. I assume he would be able to see it. Is he able to see it? Yes, he is able to see it, so he knows that the Apollo fighters are out of position and he's not moving with the tankers. He's too busy microing his Imperial War Warriors, which is currently being crushed by MCV. Excuse me. Too much coffee just now, and it's being crushed by MCV, or potentially being crushed by MCV and prospectors, and being bombarded by Vindicators while they're trying to attack the airbase and take it down. I think this is a reasonable choice of attack, since the major threat at this moment for the Empire player is the air force of the Allied player, but I don't really know the effectiveness of infantry in terms of destroying buildings, so can't be sure that I agree with that. And the Empire has sold his, well, I can't be sure, it could have been destroyed by Air Force. Yeah, it's fairly likely that it's been destroyed by Air Force. The dojo at the center of the map has been removed for whatever reason, and finally the Empire player has realized he had 5 idle tankers all along, and is now moving back to his base to defend his buildings, and he's moving a refinery core to the waterside expansion at 9 o'clock of the map, looking to expand there. But keep in mind, it's actually a double expand, another refinery core coming out, potentially looking to this position to expand here. looking fairly likely.